voices. Okay, and we're live. Hello, Facebook family. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this special Tuesday. I'm very, very excited. Hopefully you saw all of the announcements announcing our special Docs Who Rock series, and I'm so glad to be here with my super friend, Dr. Brandi. She is a doc who rocks. I'm so glad to have known her, or to have gotten to have known her this past year. She is an amazing triple board certified, you heard me, triple board certified child and adolescent and adult psychiatrist and pediatrician and entrepreneur and all out businesswoman. And she's a new author with a new book out. She's an ADHD specialist. I mean, she's part of the Link. She's an awesome Delta. I mean, I could just go on, but just know that she's a boss. And I feel like I would be remiss if I did not introduce you to her, because I've learned so much from her. And truth be told, I have a personal stake in bringing you this because she's a mental health specialist. I have a child with ADHD. And I just think she's excellent. So this talk is not just about ADHD. It's about bringing you a physician who has learned to pivot, who has learned to make medicine work for her, who has used her awesome skills, who has taken a non-traditional route in medicine, and who has just learned to take all of her awesome skills and knowledge and make it work for her. And so I don't want to talk too much because I want you to grab all of this awesome knowledge and all of these great tidbits that Dr. Brandi has for you. And it's going to be a great conversation. So I want you to hit that like button. I want you to share with all your friends. I want you to call, text, and say, hey, Dr. Brandi has been on. And for those of you who have seen Dr. Brandi before, especially if you joined us during the COVID, our VAX, what was it called? Facts
about the vax.
That's right. Facts about the vax. You know, Dr. Brandi is going to bring it. So I'm telling you, share with your friends. She's funny. She's interesting. She talks to, what did you say, Dr. Brandi? If you have ears, you go.
If you have ears, I will talk to you.
That's right. Her audience is anybody who has ears. And
that's right.
She's a fellow Southern Belle from Alabama. So, all right, Dr. Brandi, I want you to take it away. Just give your intro, and then we will start the questions. And guys, we want it to be interactive, so please share your questions, and we'll just roll from there. Take it away, Dr. Brandi. Tell us who you are.
Well, Dr. Terralon, thank you so much for that fabulous introduction. As I'm sitting here, I'm like, who is she talking about? Because this person must be amazing. I want to meet her. Oh, my goodness. You're so kind. You're so gracious. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I know you have an amazing following, and I am just honored and flattered to be able to be on your show. I am Dr. BrandiB, your triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live streams every Friday at Dr. BrandiB, I do my Focus on It Friday, where I am helping worried moms, dads, teachers, educators, principals, the family, neighborhood, grandmother, anybody who knows a kid. Not just the children with ADHD, but any child. If you have a child in your life, through those Facebook live streams, through my book, Shine, Understanding ADHD so that your child can be a star, through my speaking engagements. And if you just catch me in Walmart, I am trying to spread the good news about mental wellness. And I do that because that is what my passion is. It really is. I know that everybody has trials and tribulations they're going through, but I know that still everybody can shine. There's my book. As Dr. Terralon so graciously mentioned, I am a Southern Belle. I am from, and I currently reside in Birmingham, Alabama, with my hubby, attorney Fred Bolling, and our 3 kids who are 2 to 6 years old. I'm a mommy first, so I get it for all the moms and parents out there. I totally get it. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a child of God. I'm all of that. And I wear a cape and it gets tired, it gets worn out, it gets wrinkled, it gets dirty, and sometimes I have to lay it to the side. And so I get where you all are, you all who follow Dr. Terralon, and I'm just here to say there is rest for your cape, there is rest for your body. You can absolutely do it.
Well, thank you for that awesome introduction. See, I couldn't have done that better than you. So I want to say a shout out. I love Miss Diane. I see your mom is on.
Girl, my mama is everywhere, honey. If I am there, she is not far behind. I love my mama. She is absolutely my biggest supporter. You know, people come, people go. My husband is absolutely amazing, and we work well together because, you know, I'm by myself tonight only because he had a board meeting, but otherwise he's handling the kids while I'm doing what I do. But my mom and my dad together really set the foundation for what you see, Dr. BrandiB. It was right there, you know, mom and daddy just working hard, making it happen, helping their daughter's dreams come true. So shout out to mom and shout out to dad. In his absence, he's now deceased, but I know he is looking down and giving his blessings from afar.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I want to refresh the audience and let them know the purpose of this series. Many people know that I coach docs who are burned out, who are looking sometimes for a way out of medicine or just another way to use their skills. We know that the healthcare system has changed quite a bit, and certainly the latest health care pandemic shined a light on that. And we just want them to know that there are options. You still can serve patients. You still can serve the greater good with the skills that you have. And I want to showcase docs who are doing that, who made medicine work for them. And I don't want them to feel guilty about figuring out because first of all, in order for us to continue to serve our communities, we have to be well ourselves. And so I think it's great that we're starting out with you and talking about mental health. And so let me first ask you about how it is that you discovered your passion, Dr. Brandi.
That is a great question. Well, it started out many years ago when I was walking uphill to and from school. No, not quite that old. But, you know, one of the biggest things that I always encourage anybody to do is to get a mentor. Now, I've now learned that there's a difference between a mentor and a coach. But many years ago, both my grandmothers are master level educators. And so I wanted to be a teacher. And that is until about 10th grade, I discovered medicine through my own physician, my pediatrician, who ironically now is my children's pediatrician and also wrote the foreword to my book. But it was through her that I discovered the passion for medicine. My mom was very much a mom who was like most moms, mama bear, you know, and she did not play about her babies. And she believed that Dr. Stewart hung the moon and the stars and that she could do no wrong. And I thought, my goodness, whoever it is that can calm my mom must be pretty impressive. And so that was impressive to me. And so I wanted to be just like her. I hung on to every word that she said, every piece of advice that she gave me. And so one day I went into her office, as I always had done, going off to high school, to college, and then to medical school. And in medical school, when I came home one week, you know, for Thanksgiving or whatever, she said, I want you to think about a subspecialty. Broke my heart, made me mad, all of that. But I listened because everything she told me up until that point was worth me listening to. And so I explored options in medicine and specialties and subspecialties, and had an undergraduate degree in neuroscience, but just really did not feel that neurology was my passion. And I found the triple board program, went for it, and, you know, the rest, as they say, is history. It wasn't until in my residency program when I got into the fellowship portion of my training. And just so everybody has an understanding, there's medical school where we get all the basics in being a doctor, all the knowledge part. And then you go to residency where you really figure out how to put all of that knowledge to work. And so residents finish whatever their specialty is, pediatrics, internal medicine, family medicine. And then you can do a subspecialty, which is called a fellowship. So then you could be a pediatric neurologist, a pediatric cardiologist, a pediatric hematologist. And so for child psychiatry, it is a fellowship of adult psychiatry. That's why I have to have that in order to be a child and adolescent psychiatrist. And so it was one day in my fellowship that I went into the room and I noticed that this family was there. Nice mom, nice dad, and a nice little sweet little child. And they had come because there were some behavioral problems that the child was having. But they were not in agreement on this. Mom thought certainly that something was wrong. Dad was pretty certain that this child behaved like any other child. And so there was tension between the mom and the dad. You could feel it. You could hear the deep sighs. I mean, it was not a good situation to be in the middle of, because in addition to this kid who was running around and redecorating and reorganizing my office, which was fairly organized and did not need him to do that, you had these two adults who, one was nearly in tears and one was raging hot. And so when that dad walked out that door and slammed it and, wanted no part of anything that anybody in the room was saying, that was really eye-opening for me. And I found myself comforting the mom. I was not a mom at the time, but I certainly had aspirations of being a mom at some point in my life. And so that was very touching for me, because I thought, oh my goodness, this parenting thing can get kind of tricky. And so it was at that point that I thought, this is a place where I can help. And not just at that moment, but it was the first time that I really saw that kids actually need help outside of needing some shots and having an earache and having an upset stomach, which is what I had seen up until that point, mostly in pediatrics. And so I thought, this is a place where I really can shine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, most people won't see me with the hardcover book because I actually ordered it on Amazon, and I have the I don't have your hard copy yet, but I actually have the Kindle version. So I just want to read a quote because I love your passion. I love your passion. So in your book, you say, I use the science of medicine to treat their similarities and the art of medicine to treat their differences. Soon I found I was more than just the person prescribing medicine. I was part of the child's team of physicians. I was their family even. Right. And I think a lot of people, that really speaks to your passion, because I don't think that the parents, or a lot of times, realize that they are actually part of the team. And so I really love your passion. And which leads me to another question, especially to families of color when it comes to mental health. Do you find that you have a lot of difficulty when it comes to negotiating, convincing your patients of their diagnosis, or you treat kids and adults, but when it comes to the actual diagnosis part, and then also when it comes to medication, when it's time for medication. So I don't know if I've made that question really clear.
So if I understand you, what you're trying to figure out is, are people open to medications? Is that about right?
I think open to diagnoses, and then so it's a two-part question. Are people open to hearing and accepting their diagnoses? And then if it calls for medication, are they open to accepting the medication if they're open? So I guess
oh my goodness, Dr. Terralon, this is a loaded question. And I have spent the last year over at Dr. BrandiB, and y'all go ahead and follow me over there now at Dr. BrandiB. But on my Focus On It Fridays, which are every Friday, 12 noon Central Standard Time, I have been going over and over and over into this. And let me just go back real quick. You talked about the science of medicine, that quote, the science of medicine versus the art. Everybody learns what I learned in med school. We all learned the same things. I'm board certified. So that means that I took a test that every other psychiatrist who is board certified also took. And so they know the same material. What makes me unique, though, what is different about Dr. BrandiB is that I'm going to remember that your dog died. I'm going to remember that your husband was in the hospital. I'm going to remember that grandma fell, and she usually comes, but I'm going to ask where is she this time, and you're going to tell me that she fell and broke her back picking poke salad. These are all things that really happen, and that's what makes the difference. So when you come to see Dr. BrandiB, the script is not written. Even if in my mind I'm imagining, oh, he's been doing well, we're not going to change it, because you may not be doing well and you may just need to talk. So I'm going to always listen, And that is my art. And truly, I'm a member of the family. Dr. Terralon, a lot of patients see me more than they see their pediatrician or their family practitioner. They hadn't seen them in years after they get to a certain age beyond the shots. Now, I'm not an advocate for that. As board certified pediatrician, you still need to be going for regular checkups every year. But Dr. Terralon, the truth of the matter is that I see these kids more than they see any other doctor. So I know very intimately what's going on. Now, when we talk about diagnosis, Dr. BrandiB is very, 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 very much an advocate of people, number one, knowing their diagnosis and being able to verbalize it. Because as my sister-in-law, Erica, says, you cannot heal what you won't reveal. So if you are not able to say it, that lets me know you're still not quite there with accepting it. And Dr. Terralon, I am not saying that I'm always right. And so I'm open to discussions about it, but we have to start somewhere. The truth of the matter is that when someone is coming to see me as a psychiatrist, they probably know that something is going on. And 9 times out of 10, they are on the money with what it is because they've seen it enough. Or as parents, we just have a gut feeling about things. We know something's not right. We may not know what to call it. And just to speak about naming things and labeling things, as parents will say, I'm a big fan of naming things as they are because that helps teachers, that helps doctors, that may help the police understand if they stop you, what is going on. If we are not, saying that this child is autistic, then someone may not understand if they are behaving in a certain way in public, what's going on, and that may be detrimental to their overall health. Simply put, if I think that if I ask for a banana and I have my eyes closed and you give me an apple, I'm going to be very confused about how to handle it. I may bite it with a different strength. I may hold it a different way. I am not prepared to deal with what you gave me because I asked you for one thing and you gave me something else. So most people, Dr. Terralon, when it comes to diagnosis, they know something is going on, and I very gently talk to them about what that diagnosis is. Now, when it comes to medicine, Dr. Terralon, I try to do a very good job of explaining to people that as a psychiatrist, the purpose of that meeting is for us to prescribe medicine. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be all in, but I at least need an open mind. If you absolutely believe that medications are of the devil and you will never, ever put your child on them, that is fine. That is your prerogative as a parent, as a guardian, or whatever else. Just don't take up that spot because somebody really wants it. And in most pediatricians and child and adolescent psychiatrists for the purpose of mental health and wellness treatment, we're talking about 3 to 6 months. So for you to wait 3 to 6 months to get in and then tell me your deep thoughts about medicines, that, it's just kind of counterproductive and somebody else could have had the spot. Now, do we want people to come in who say, I really don't want medicine? And I'm going to say, I don't want your kid to need medicine. So we agree right there. We are on the same page. But if they said, but maybe you can tell me some stuff about it. That's where my art comes in, because I'm definitely, Dr. Terralon, going to be able to soothe them over. And they'll usually leave with their kid getting treated. And so somebody said, well, do you feel bad? You're convincing all these parents? I'm not convincing anybody. I'm giving them facts. I'm laying out the law. I'm telling them all the things that can happen if they do not treat their children. Like 33% of children will never graduate high school. Only 5 to 10% of kids who have ADHD and are not treated will finish college. Some of them will end up pregnant in teenage years. Of course, that means some of them will end up parenting kids in the teenage years. Some of them will end up having wrecks that could be fatal with either them, a passenger, or someone that they hit. And so all of these are things that come about from ADHD. And so I provide education. Parents make decisions.
I love that. And so I'm gonna repeat a few points that, for a few people in the back. So I heard you say, parents, trust your gut feeling. You know that something is wrong. And so be open, come in with an open mind. And then I also heard you say, and I'm paraphrasing, let's call a spade a spade. We're going to call it what it is. And I know as a family physician, it's really, really important to know your history. So if you prescribe something or you tell someone that they actually have bipolar disorder, then it's really important that they accept that and they relay that back to their pediatrician or their family physician or their internal medicine doctor. Because a lot of times I would actually get people coming in and they'd say, well, I have depression. Now, that's only part of the picture, but when I get your medication and it doesn't match up with what has been described, I'm only getting part of the picture. And so a lot of that I understand has to do with the stigma. And I'm a big advocate of not being ashamed. And so it's really, I'm glad we're talking about this, because the more we talk about it, the more that removes the stigma.
Right.
So get used to knowing what your diagnosis is and get used to saying, yes, I have bipolar disorder.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, and I put it, we cannot heal what is not revealed. I love that your sister-in-law. That's why I had to write it down.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know about it. We can't fix it. We can't tell.
Exactly. And part of healing any diagnosis, I've heard people say, they say I got cancer, but I'm not claiming it. Well, when you don't claim it, that means you really can't treat it well. And eventually it will claim you. Mm-hmm. Mental illness will claim you if you don't take it by the horns and get it under control. It will consume you. It will hinder you. It will limit you. And so I'm so passionate, Dr. Terralon, about making sure that parents understand that oftentimes when they make decisions to not treat their children who have ADHD, what they're doing is, oh, Dr. Terralon, I'm gonna make somebody upset, but it's almost kind of selfish. A lot of times parents will say, well, I made it and I know I have ADHD, but I wouldn't treat it. And if I just simply ask the question, did you make it as high as you know that you could have? And heads drop. I was destined to be X, Y, and Z, but I only got to X. If I had had some treatment, I could have been to Z beyond. And so we just have to look beyond what will people think of us? What will we think of ourselves? That parental guilt. And we have a colleague, Dr. Terralon, who talks about mommy guilt. I mean, it's real. Because the demon of comparison, it wants to consume us as moms and dads and make us look at our other children. Well, my child didn't walk at 12 months, but walking, Dr. Terralon, there's a range. You have a range at which you can walk. If you're not walking on your first birthday, that's all right. It's okay. But we tend to compare. Instead of doing what's best for the child we were given. I always say, Dr. Terralon, that we have to parent the child that we were given and not the child we prayed for.
Yes. I love that. So I hope everybody can see, and that it's not just about, I want you to see what Dr. Brandi is talking about. And this conversation is about, and please ask your questions. I may not be able to see them all. I'm going to check a couple of the pages in just a second. This talk is not just about ADHD. It's not just about mental health. It's about, acknowledging how important your mental health is. And I also want you to see that Dr. Brandi found her passion very early on, and she's going after it with all, with all of her gusto. She found her place and her passion, and she has channeled it in so many ways. She has put it in a book to help parents. She has a concierge practice. She has speaking engagements. I know that you are working with schools, you are working with community groups to get the word out. And so for all of you who are thinking that there's just one avenue to channel your gift, look at all of the ways that Dr. Brandi is doing this. And this is why I'm in awe of her, because she's channeling it in so many ways. Books, speaking, she's on social media. And I don't know, I can't wait to see what else you're doing. I mean, am I missing something?
I can't wait to see it too, Dr. Terralon. I'm trying to figure it out. But you know what, Dr. Terralon, when we're talking about plans, I'm a big believer. I'm very religious, spiritual, however you call it. I tend to get those mixed up, Dr. Terralon. But I really believe in just going with the flow. My mom always says, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. I mean, I really am. I'm a planner. And so things are definitely planned out. I've got the boxes, I check them. But then every once in a while, Dr. Terralon, something will happen Like Dr. Stewart, for example, telling me, I want you to subspecialize. Now, I could have dug my heels in and said, I want to be just like you and you know it, but I would have missed out on opportunities, on blessings, on money. And so, you know, one day in residency, one of my attendings came up to me and he said, hey, you want to make some extra money? And I was like, as long as it's legal and not morally degrading, yeah. I think of myself doing disability examinations. And Dr. Terralon, before I even left residency, I was an entrepreneur and I had other residents working for me. Even after I left Indiana, came back home to Alabama, I still had my business going there. You know, and I just believe in, even we need to plan, because if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. But we also need to allow for detours, for, you know, for all manner of things to happen. For example, Dr. Terralon, and we talked about this before, I was always going to be a board certified pediatrician regardless. Psychiatry became kind of a side street that I kind of found. But for some doggone reason, those P's boards just didn't want to turn me loose. But, you know, and people said to me, why are you even taking them? You don't want to practice P's. But I knew that that was my primary goal. So I held on to that. And I took them till I passed them. And right there, the American Board of Pediatrics has my name on it. Sat for it on my birthday, passed it, you know, so, and when you say, but you won't ever use it, but sometimes you don't have to use something. You just, I've got a story to tell, because somebody's out there right now struggling with a test, struggling with an exam, struggling with something. I've got something to tell my kids when they say it's hard. I'm going to say, go look at that piece of paper, you know, just kind of having those things that are really important to you. And I mean, and it has a nice ring that I get to say I'm triple boarded. Nobody can ever take that from me.
That's right.
But there's something about that. You know, Dr. Terralon, I've wanted to write a book for a very long time. And people say, how in the world you do it? You got 3 small kids, you got a husband, you've been working from home, he's working from home, y'all. How do you? Because it was important to me. I studied for that test with a newborn hinged to me and a 17-month-old. But it was important that I set that time aside to do that, because that was what was important to me, just like writing this book. It was a labor of love, because I figured I can touch many more people with this book and give them what I give my patients on every meeting than I'll ever be able to see in an exam room. And so it's really important that if you have a passion, create a plan, but then allow for meaningful detours, not just any old detour that I call a distraction. But if somebody, you know, I got to call Dr. Terralon Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Hey, somebody canceled. Can you come? Sure. And from that, I sold books and I booked 2 speaking engagements.
Yeah.
I just was going to be minding my business on a Sunday, watching church and hanging out. But sure, I'm available. So I mean, that's really what it's about. Just going with the flow, and most of all, have fun. Have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it, and I'm doing it sober so I can remember it the next day.
I love that.
Now, I'm not knocking people that do, you know, but hey, I want to be able to remember how much fun I had. So that's just me, Dr. Terralon. I have a natural high, girl. I don't need to use nothing.
Yeah, you know, you have a natural high. I'm just gonna. So I'm just gonna see, because all of my comments don't always come through Streamyards. So I did put your book up. So that's www.shineadhdbook.shop, and I was sure to put them in the comments so that people can click on the link. Perfect. And I'm just gonna go to another page to just see if I'm missing any comments. And people, please feel free to put any questions in before we let Dr. Brandi go. I know you guys are just loving Dr. Brandi. I love her every time I talk to her.
I love Dr. Terralon. Dr. Terralon is so awesome, y'all. She is awesome. For you all that follow Dr. Terralon, and if you don't, if you stumble across this page, you should totally follow Dr. Terralon. She is just an amazing woman, mother, just a good person to have in your life. Every once in a while you need somebody to tell you, Dr. Brandi, sit down somewhere. Because y'all, I get excited and I get carried away. I started talking. I was talking to Dr. Terralon the other day and I said, girl, look at this. And she said, but wait a minute, now we on the telephone. I said, girl, hold on. Let me send you a picture, girl. Let me send you a picture because you cannot see what I'm seeing. But Dr. Terralon is just simply awesome. She has really calmed me down when I'm tending, because I tend to get worked up like it ain't working right. Why is it not? I cannot check this box. Dr. Terralon will tell me, go to the next box and let's come back to that one. And you need that kind of person in your life.
I didn't hear her to say that, but thank you. So I don't see. Let me check one more page. Do you see any questions on your page?
I don't.
Now you guys don't come here later and send me DMs and
girl, you know how they do now. They'll be in my DM.
What is
to figure out?
I
saw you on Dr. Terralon's page.
What does she think about?
Yes.
I get those questions there. I'm like,
oh, right. Dr. Terralon, I am getting a license near you. So
a what?
A license.
Oh, awesome!
In Maryland. So
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, let me tell you, Dr. Brandi is a unicorn. Okay. I don't know if you know how difficult it is, one, to find a psychiatrist, but to find an African American psychiatrist, and then find a female African American psychiatrist. Guys, she is a unicorn. So to hear that she is getting a license in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, this is awesome. So this is truly, truly awesome. And I just can't tell you how, I mean, that's amazing. So many people will be happy to hear that, because I do get questions often, and I see posts to say, do you know one of a psychiatrist, preferably of color, preferably female or male? It's just so difficult to find a psychiatrist. I mean,
people aren't enough of us out there. So if you're in medical school and you're trying to figure out what to do, come on to the right side. We need people who are, really compassionate and enjoy this field of work. Sometimes we're underappreciated until somebody needs us, and then it's like, get psych. But it is so rewarding. It is really so rewarding. And I absolutely am glad that Dr. Stewart challenged me that day when I just came home to get my sugar-free blow pop. That's what, I would come home and I'd get them just like the kids. And that was all I came, was to see her and get a sugar-free blow pop. And I got all this good information. So, you just gotta be on your toes. You gotta be ready, and getting a mentor and getting a coach, because it's through my coach that I finally got this book. I'd had an outline for many years, at least a solid year and a half, but I didn't get a product until I got a coach who challenged me, held my feet to the fire, and got me to the next level. And so if you're looking for a coach and you're wanting somebody to tell you, girl, to leave that box alone and go to the next one, y'all need to get with Dr. Terralon.
Oh, thank you.
That's what Dr. Terralon is going to do for you. And she's going to do it very calmly, but I can assure you that it's going to be very firm, but loving. You're going to feel like, ooh, let me go to the next one, honey, because I might get in trouble. But she's going to come back and follow it up with, and this is why she's going to call you back. And she's going to say, now, did you go to the next box? And is the first box clearer now? Right? And that's just the type of person that she is. So I know that in her coaching program, if she does it in her everyday life, just with friends, and we've only known each other for a year or so.
Yeah.
And she's just turned out to be a wonderful friend, not to mention a soror, but a wonderful friend. And I know she's an amazing physician. And so she will be an awesome coach to you as well.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Brandi.
Yeah.
So I don't see any other questions. There was one thing that I think we've taken care of it. But if there are any other questions, I will shoot them to you. I'll shoot them over to you. But I really, really appreciate your time. I can't thank you enough. I'm so happy that you joined me, and I know people will continue to share this. if you are catching this on the replay, continue to share this, and, you can send me a message afterwards. Thank you, Dr. Brandi. And not only does Dr. Brandi have have her book that's scrolling across, I also put it in the comments. I also have a book, and I will be putting that in the comments as well. Let me put that in the comments. Let me have that scroll across.
Oh,
yay! So I have a book launch coming out July 21st. That will be a week from Wednesday. It's called I Kiss Clinical Medicine Goodbye. You'll get to hear my story and how I've taken a non-traditional approach to medicine, and how I'm helping doctors be well, and how I've discovered my gift and my passion with the help of our coach. Dr. Brandi and I share a coach, Dr. Dreon Birch. And I'm just very, very excited. I would love it if you pre-order. I'll drop the link in the comments so that you can start pre-sales, but start to order during pre-sales. But it's called I Kiss Clinical Medicine Goodbye. Again, it's about how I pivoted. I'm still serving patients in a non-traditional way. And I'm also helping other burned out docs who are just looking how to use their skills and looking for other options. You can do that. You can still serve your community. You can still serve your colleagues. You can still serve the greater good and not feel guilty about it, because most of all, we need you to be well. So I just want to thank you again, Dr. Brandi. I'm Dr. Terralon, your board certified family physician, speaker, author, and career transition coach. I help doctors make pivotal changes so that they can have a career that allows them freedom, flexibility, and financial independence. And you can follow me on all social media outlets. That's at Dr. Terralon, DrTerralon. You can get my new book, I Kiss Clinical Medicine Goodbye. I hope to see you next Wednesday. I also hope to see you here tomorrow night, because I'll have another awesome doc who rocks, Dr. Jared Patton here, and he'll tell you his story. He's an entrepreneur. He's a former CEO of a hospital. He'll tell you his story. And you know what, Dr. Brandi, any closing comments from you?
I'll just say, be mentally well, whatever that is for you. Take some time for you. Do what's best for you. So oftentimes we feel like we need to do what's best for our children, our spouses, our bosses. But in reality, I like the flight attendant model. The flight attendants, if you've ever flown, they say, should the cabin lose pressure, these masks are going to drop from the ceiling, and they tell you to put yours on first before any young children or others who may need special assistance. And the reason it's good for you to do that, if you are not alive and healthy and well, both mentally and physically, you certainly can't do anything for anybody else around you. So take care of yourself and remember to always keep shining.
Yay. Show your book again, Dr. Brandi. Show the cover. Yay. You can also do like I did until I get my hardcover. You can order it on Amazon. She has it available. You can order directly from Dr. Brandi. I put that link up. That way you can get it signed. And you can also order
the e-copy.
Amazon. Yes, and you can order the e-copy. Yes, she is a best-selling author. So yay. Thank you. Thank you, and have a good night, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Brandi.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye.